Hello and welcome back to Save Ourselves. Hi, I'm Aparna. So, since it is exam season for me, I thought that this was the perfect time to show you how I take my notes and introduce you to the method that I have adopted for the same. Let's get started. So now let me show you how I take my notes. Let's start with the paper. I prefer blank paper over ruled ones because I don't really write on the line, I sort of write in between, and the distance between the lines is a little too much for me because my handwriting is not that large. So what I prefer is using a blank paper because then I can also add in diagrams and sketches if I want to. I can customize my flowcharts and cram my notes if I want to, or space them out as per my needs. And this also helps me write more notes on one page, and since I have a very free flowing handwriting, it fits better on these blank pages, and I think I just can compose my notes way better on blank pages instead of ruled paper. So how I usually write my notes is like this. So the format that I follow is that I'll usually highlight the top of the page with the color that I have assigned to that subject with the subject name in between, so that whenever I'm browsing through my notes, it's quicker for me to just look at the top of the page and sort it out according to the subject. And apart from that, I'll also insert the date so that my notes can be arranged chronologically after that. I'll also mention which professor is going to take that class so that whenever I'm looking back on these notes, it'll help me recall the lecture way better. And of course, I'm going to start with the topic name at the heading of my notes. And after that, I don't really have a set format as such, but these are a few techniques I use to highlight. So I'll either write down the main topic and underline it with a bullet, or I'll simply highlight the entire topic. And whenever I have to use flowcharts or diagrams, this is I first write it out with my pen, and then what I'll do is with my highlighter I'll just box it out, and the arrows will be done with the highlighter as well. And if there are any diagrams that need to be filled in, I'll sketch them out with my pen or pencil, and then they will be labeled using that particular highlighter or filled up using that. And that's it for my regular note taking. I'll just write down the topic and then fill in the notes with bullet points, and that way I just fill up these pages, and that's how I take my notes. So now let me show you a flip through of all of the notes that I have taken down and compiled for all of my subjects that I had this semester. You can see a variation in the composition and the content in all of my notes according to the subject, and it also depended on how fast the professor was giving that lecture and how much time I really had to take down all of those notes. You can also see the difference between my notes on a blank page versus a ruled page, and in my personal opinion, the ones on the blank page have a much better sense of composition, and they are visually much more legible than the ones on the ruled pages. So this is a good example of how I said I can cram as much as notes as I want to on my blank pages, because as you can see here, I've spaced them out pretty well, because that day I didn't have much to write, but on this particular day there was so much to write down and I really didn't have any more pages left with me. So that's how I crammed all of this information onto one page, and yet it still looks fine and legible because it's done on a blank page. A ruled page would not have given me as much space to put all of this stuff down on. And this is another thing that I can do with blank pages, and that is the sectioning of the pages. So with ruled paper, it doesn't really work out that well in my opinion, but on blank pages, it just looks fine. So yeah, that's it for this video. I hope that this was useful for at least some of you. I have developed this technique through a lot of inspiration from YouTube and also a lot of experimentation. So I encourage you guys to do the same and find a technique that's best suited for you. And don't forget to subscribe to this channel and leave a comment if this video was helpful for you. Give it a thumbs up, and when you subscribe, don't forget to turn on the notification bell. I'll see you soon. Bye bye.